This is the BBC World Service for the stories that matter.
Across the globe, BBC journalists are dedicated to capturing the news as and when it happens.
European scientists are hailing an important milestone in the development of nuclear fusion,
bringing the world closer to you.
Where I'm standing now, in the old city of Antakya, I am looking out at a wasteland.
News from the BBC World Service. At bbcworldservice.com, The Conversation.
What do washing machines, windscreen wipers and Kevlar, the material used to make bulletproof vests, have in common? Well, they were all invented by women. Join me, Dashiani Navanayagam, to find out more about their fascinating stories.
This is the BBC World Service, the world's radio station.
This is the BBC World Service and I'm Johnny Diamond in Manila, capital of the Philippines, with a distinguished panel ready to face questions from a large and lively audience. A new president with a familiar surname was elected here 2 years ago, Ferdinand Marcos Jr., son of the former president and dictator Ferdinand Marcos. Bongbong, as he's known, swept to power on a promise to unite the country and boost the economy, which has been badly damaged by COVID. At home and abroad, challenges are everywhere. The economy underperforms its neighbours, and the potential of a fast-growing population is undermined by a lack of skills. There is serious criticism of the country's record in human rights and press freedom. Meanwhile, the president has crisscrossed the world, raising his concerns over what he calls Chinese aggression in the seas around his nation. Join us for World Questions Philippines right after the BBC World Service News.
Hello, I'm Roisin Hastie with the BBC News. The UN says a new land route has been used to deliver urgently needed food to northern Gaza for the first time in 3 weeks. The move comes as global pressure on Israel increases to allow more access to the Palestinian territory where famine is looming after nearly 6 months of fighting. Here's Yolande now.
As a boat carrying 200 tons of food aid makes its way to Gaza, inaugurating a new sea route into the territory, it's been widely pointed out that deliveries by road remain the quickest way to deliver urgently needed supplies. The UN says its convoy was able to use an Israeli military road that runs along the Gaza border fence to reach the north and deliver enough food for 25,000 people to Gaza City. As Gaza's humanitarian crisis deepens, Qatari and Egyptian mediators say they're continuing to push for a truce between Israel and Hamas.
A former Lithuanian Prime Minister has told the BBC that a hammer attack on Leonid Volkov, who worked as Alexei Navalny's chief of staff, is a message from the Kremlin that Russian opposition activists can be persecuted anywhere in Europe. Andrius Kubilius said he would call for better security of Russian activists living in Lithuania.
We shall talk with our government to strengthen that protection. I am not so sure how effective that protection was till now. But definitely we see that, what Putin is trying to do, what Putin is trying to achieve. It's not only personal attacks against Volkov, it can happen also against some others, but also it's an attempt to show that Lithuania is not a safe place for Russian opposition.
Russia says Ukraine has carried out a second night of drone attacks targeting Russian oil refineries and border regions. One drone hit an oil refinery in the Ryazan region, about 200 kilometres southeast of Moscow. The regional governor said a fire broke out and there were some injuries. The number of children around the world who die before their 5th birthday has reached a record low. The UN Children's Agency, which released the figures for 2022, said it was an important milestone. Steve Jackson reports.
UNICEF estimates that fewer than 5 million children died in 2022, roughly half the number from the year 2000. Improvements in child mortality were most notable in developing countries such as Malawi, Rwanda and Mongolia. UNICEF credits midwives and skilled health professionals for the drop, but it has warned that the improvements are precarious. Cuts in health funding could reverse the downward trend. And the picture is still massively unequal around the world. Babies born in Chad, Nigeria or Somalia are around 80 times more likely to die before their 5th birthdays than those born in Finland or Japan.
You're listening to the latest world news from the BBC. The United States says it's deployed a team of elite US Marines to its embassy in the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince, as it tries to facilitate a transition of power in the Caribbean country. It said the Marines' anti-terrorism security team would replace the current Marine deployment. Local media in Nigeria are reporting that dozens of people have been abducted from a village in the northwest of the country just days after the kidnapping of more than 250 pupils in the same region. More from Chris Iwoko.
The abductors invaded the community, surrounded some homes, and went from house to house, picking family members. Some of them were woken up because it was around midnight, and most of them, because of the prevailing heat in Nigeria, were not really properly dressed. They had very few clothes on, and they were led like that into the bush. A family member has told us that at least 6 members of his family were abducted, and at the moment, the authorities haven't said anything about it, but it adds to the growing concerns over the security situation.
The search for 7 family members missing after a serious flooding in the Western Australian outback has been put on hold because of more bad weather. The 3 elderly people and 4 children have not been seen since they left the city of Kalgoorlie-Boulder near Perth on Sunday. They were planning to drive home to a remote Aboriginal community some 650 kilometres through the outback. The first refugee to become an MP in New Zealand, a woman tipped for high office, has pleaded guilty to shoplifting. Boris Garaman admitted stealing more than $5,000 worth of clothes from several shops. She's already said that work-related stress had caused her to act in ways that were out of character. She's now resigned from Parliament. BBC News.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This is the BBC World Service. I'm Johnny Diamond, and welcome to the Philippines and BBC World Questions, the programme that puts people and their questions at the heart of the debate. We're in the country's bustling capital, Manila, with a great panel and a large and lively audience waiting to ask their questions and have their say, and there is so much to discuss. This is a fast-growing country with a large and youthful population of just under 120 million people spread out across more than 7,500 islands, a place of breathtaking beauty in Southeast Asia. Here in Manila, towering hotels and gleaming skyscrapers sit alongside grinding poverty and congested highways. 2 years ago, a new president with a familiar surname was elected here, Ferdinand Marcos, known as Bong Bong, son of the former president and dictator Ferdinand Marcos Sr. Bong Bong swept to power on a national unity ticket, a pledge to boost the economy, which was badly damaged by COVID. There is a lot that could go right here. As a young and growing population in a region with collapsing birth rates, strong links to both America and China could make it a hub for trade and investment from both. But critics say poor governance has undermined the nation's potential. As the region has leapt ahead, the Philippines has fallen behind. The democratic checks and balances that other countries take for granted are missing here. Looming over the nation is its powerful neighbour China and its claim to seas and resources that lie between the two countries. Joining me here to debate these issues and to hear from the audience is our panel. Roberto Galang is Dean of the School of Management at Ateneo de Manila University. Rafaela David is President of the Akbayan Citizens Action Party, a progressive socialist movement. Justice Antonio Carpio is a former Supreme Court judge. And Professor Richard Hidarian is an academic at the University of the Philippines and a well-known journalist and writer. What a great panel. Welcome to you all. Let us go to our first question. It comes from Dr. John Ortiz.
Okay, my question is very timely right now because of the new program being launched by the President. So my question is, how do you perceive the concept of the Bagong Pilipinas or New Philippines program of President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr.?
Thank you, Dr. Terope. How do you perceive the concept of Bagong Pilipinas, New Philippines, program of President Bongbong Marcos? The New Philippines has arrived, said the President in July last year. Rafaela David.
So hello everyone. Again, I'm Rafaela, but my friends call me Paeng. First and foremost, I just want to greet every woman here. Happy Women's Month. Okay, so just on the question on Bagong Pilipinas or a new Philippines, we asked the question, what is really new that's being offered by this administration? And it remains to be seen what it means, because we still see the similar problems that we've been hounded by in the last administration. There's still human rights violations even under this administration. The economy is still recovering, and we've actually seen record high levels of inflation. This government still needs to really show us what is really the new programs, the new policies that will really change the lives of ordinary Filipinos.
Thanks very much indeed. Richard Heydarian, writer and journalist. We're 2 years in. Are you clear about what the new Philippines program is?
Yeah, I think this really reflects what's the problem right now. Of course, the president is concerned. You can say it's kind of a techno-populist. At the same time, there's a lot of nostalgia populism there. Clearly, this has something to do with the legacy of his father, which appeals to his base. He also tries to pretend to be some sort of technocrat who knows about economics and all of that. But I think the reality is that, as some wise person said, the old order is dying, but the new one is yet to be born. I think the current president is still trying to figure out what to come up with. So you can say it's ideologically vacuous, or at the same time, at least a reflection of a struggle or scramble by the current administration to come up with a clear agenda. Because President Aquino, God bless his soul, was clearly about corruption. Former President Duterte was about fighting drugs. This president won on a campaign, essentially motherhood statement of unity. What is, you cannot run a country based on just empty slogans. So I think this is the fundamental problem we have. Almost halfway in, this president is still scrambling for a clear policy agenda, something he can attach.
Thanks very much, Richard. I want to hear from the audience on this question in a moment, but we'll hear first of all from our invited panel, Justice Antonio Archie. Are you clear about what Bagong Pilipinas, the new Philippines program is?
I really don't know what it means.
Okay.
Ferdinand Marcos Sr., when he declared martial law, he said, I will establish a new society. The son, when he assumed office as president, said he will establish Bagong Pilipinas. Well, if this is the same as the father's new society, then we will be in for a terrible ride.
Thank you very much indeed. Robbie Galang from Ateneo de Manila University.
I think what we really need about Bagong Pilipinas is we need a new pillar in our economy. So, for example, during the Ramos time, they brought in a lot of semiconductor companies who could come here. They opened up these PEZA zones, and you had all these factories grow. Right? His predecessors then created a business process outsourcing economy, which then created millions of jobs, and is still one of the biggest drivers of our country. So, what's new? What new thing do we need to come in? Right? So Indonesia was trying to go into batteries or electric cars, right? So we need something new. And that could have been digital technologies. All of us survived the pandemic, and we survived primarily because of Zoom, because of all these new apps. But most of these apps, like Netflix, they're foreign apps, right? Where is our Gojek? Where is our Tokopedia? And while the government has passed Innovation Act here and there, they haven't put in enough resources to get Filipino companies to disrupt digital payments, digital wallets, digital anything, right? We need new jobs for our people. We need to find a new pillar. And so hopefully the Bagong Pilipinas slogan translates into new industries, new companies, new economy.
Thanks very much indeed. I should say, it sounds like we've been punching the government in its absence here. We did invite various different representatives of the government. One pulled out, and then a senator that was meant to be here tonight, unfortunately got stuck apparently in a session of the Senate. Let's hear from the audience. First of all, Dr. Teope, you asked the question, the concept of the new Philippines. Do you understand it?
Yes, I understand it. So in the context of improvement is that there will be innovations, improvements, and development as a country that would compete in the world economy.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from others in the audience. If you could put your hands up. The gentleman over there. Sir.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay. For me, my envision of a new Philippines perhaps is not just only an empty promise. During the past 6 years, we face a lot of economic challenges, which include the pandemic, the jumpstart of inflation. We should see the new Philippines as an educational reform. We need to invest on education as well and in healthcare.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And gentleman here.
Hi, I'm Lawrence. Good evening, everyone. Just to add to the thought of the new Philippines, I think that there is a pressing need for the country to really innovate. And a lot of Filipinos, of course, are known to like migrate overseas for like better opportunities. I think the Department of Trade and Industry has a like artificial intelligence roadmap, but like I would love to see for that roadmap to be implemented in this country.
Thank you very much, sir. I now, a lady over there.
Good evening, I'm Nona. I would like to see a type of development that no one will be left behind. The environment will not be destroyed. The justice system will move fast to free all those who are innocent and are still behind bars. And the educational system that will uplift our children and the future generation of Philippines.
Thank you very much, madam.
Of course, our health. Thank you.
Thank you.
Within the New Philippines program or the Bagong Pilipinas program of the government, I actually welcome their vast investment on agriculture. I am a farmer and I represent the young farmers in the Philippines, and I welcome the president's new program. If, for example, they doubled the budget of agriculture, we welcome that because that's the right direction. Because if we invest in agriculture, that's the fastest way to eradicate poverty in the Philippines.
Thank you very much indeed. I am going to come back to the audience throughout the show. I can see lots of hands on this one. I want to come back to you on further questions if I can. But we're going to move on for the moment on to our next question. It comes from Christian Ricamora. Christian.
Hello. So I'm a commuter every day to go to uni at Ateneo de Manila in Katipunan. Sometimes I bike as well. My question is, a consistent issue in many Filipino minds is that of transportation, especially in urban centers. From inter-island connectivity to Metro Manila's perpetual congestion. What do you think needs to be done to improve the transport infrastructure to reach the likes of Indonesia and Thailand?
Thank you so much, Christian. Any visitor to Manila, and obviously I am one myself, comes face to face with the traffic very, very quickly. And of course, the connectivity around more than 7,500 islands. Cited frequently, the transport problems is an issue for foreign investment and for productivity of domestic businesses as well. Richard Haydarian, writer and journalist, can be done.
This is actually an explosive political issue. I mean, in the most simplistic way, I could say that the two past elections, presidential elections, were protestful. And a lot of the middle class anger was channeled against the administration that came before. I mean, the idea is that liberal democracy is just dysfunctional. It cannot deliver the basic services. And I think it was that frustration that drove a lot of fascination with nostalgia with the Marcos era, and therefore we have the junior now or a strongman like Duterte. So it's a political explosive issue. Therefore, anyone who wants to change this country for the better has to pay a lot of attention to that. Having said that, I mean, I think one of the problems we have here, I compare it to Jakarta. In Jakarta, they have a governor, right? You have how many cities? More than half a dozen cities in Metro alone. If you don't have a coordinated, centralized approach, it's very hard to deal with things. I mean, yes, if there's no coordination, centralized authority and a grand vision, it's very hard to get this country going. I mean, that's why you have a situation in the Philippines. You have multiple business districts. You have multiple Shangri-La hotels. I mean, this is insane, right? Duplications, one after the other. And that, I think, is a very good reflection of the governance failure we have. But having said that, in spite of our government, we're still moving forward. There's enough taxpayers' money that is funding a subway that is being built by Japan as we speak right now. So in a few years from now, we're going to have a new subway. And I think in the coming years, there are going to be a lot of other infrastructure projects that, by the way, did not start by this administration, did not start by the Duterte administration. A lot of them started towards the end of the Aquino administration, which I think never got enough credit for that.
Thanks very much indeed. Robbie Gallant from Ateneo de Manila, one of your students.
Yeah, I know. I'm very sorry. It takes forever to get to our school, but his problem is all of our problems. One question I want to pose, right? Why are there not enough buses? I mean, we talk about the subway, we talk about the trains, and we're we're glad the government's building them. But why can't you take a bus that goes down C5 or that goes down Shaw Boulevard? Most of our cities, there are no buses. And part of it is really because our whole transport regulatory system is very outdated. And when technologies appear, which have great solutions, I'm talking about Grab and all these apps that were created, the government steps in and says, no, right? You have to license every single motorbike. You have to license every car. No regulatory this, regulation that, right? It's this system that was created in the American period. That's when we created this franchise system. And so why haven't we even changed it? The transport system has changed around the world. Most transport systems are run by cities. You have now apps that allow you to commute to figure out who's coming next. Why are still reliant on a franchise system that was developed by a colonizer?
Thanks very much. Rafaela David, President of the Bayan Party.
I think we definitely need a transport policy that centers on moving people and not cars. So we hope that our government really pushes for public investment, for public transportation, especially with the recent issue, for instance, in jeepney modernization. We really need to have government really support our jeepney drivers so that as we transition to greener technologies, they have the support mechanisms that will ensure that we are able to really transition in a just manner where everyone is considered.
I should say that jeepneys, for those in the wider audience that don't know, are a form of transportation pretty much unique, I think, to this country, carrying around 20 people, quite often beautifully decorated, but clearly struggling perhaps with environmental changes and regulatory changes. A lot of interest. I just want to hear from our questioner about what you think.
Well, I certainly agree that we have to increase the number of public transport systems in here and that there should be a formidable policy regarding that. However, there seems to be a lot of conflicting interest between government agencies as well as the different companies that have interest in these projects.
Thank you very much, Christian. Thank you. Back to Richard Hedarian's point about governance as well being so important. We're going to move on, if we may, to Jane Chu. The question is being asked on Jane Chu's behalf by someone else. Thank you.
So her question is, the divorce bill has been a topic for so many years. So will it be ever passed anytime soon? And hopefully it is without the influence of religion.
Thanks very much indeed. The divorce bill has been a topic for so many years and has been a topic for the past administration. Will it ever be passed anytime soon? Hopefully, this is, I should say, the questioner's point of view, without the influence of religion. This is one of the very, very, very few countries or states in the world that does not allow divorce under the law. There are forms of separation that are allowable, but they are an extraordinarily difficult and tortuous route, and they lead to considerable legal problems further down the line for the relatives of those who have separated. There's a legislation has gone through the Senate, waiting to go through the House of Representatives, and we wait to see whether or not the President will sign it. Rafaela David, the question, will it be passed anytime soon?
Of course, we're hopeful that we gain enough support. Akbayan has been pushing for the divorce bill with the leadership of our Senator, Risa Ontiveros, in the Senate. We believe that this option should be available for the Filipino people. We believe that everyone should have a chance at a second love. With all due respect, of course, to our religious community, what destroys the family is an abusive relationship that we Filipinos should be able to get out of. That's why it's also very important, of course, especially for women who have survived and experienced loveless and even abusive marriages to come together and really pressure our legislators so that we together with our senator and our champions in the Senate and in Congress, we finally pass this long needed legislation.
Thanks very much indeed. Former Supreme Court Justice Garpia, the question, will it be passed anytime soon?
Well, I hope it will be passed soon. There has been several attempts. We are an anomaly here in the country because we have divorce for Muslims. We don't have divorce for Catholics. We actually had a divorce law in the past during the American regime and the Japanese regime. So it's something that was in our legal system before. But I think we have to pass this already. We're the only country probably after the Vatican.
Indeed, indeed. Richard Hedarian, journalist and writer, what in your view is stopping a law from passing through the legislature and getting signed? What are the forces holding it back?
On the surface, we're supposed to be a liberal democracy, but I think state-church relations in this country for a long time were, put it nicely, medieval. But the reality is that over the past decade, I think things have been moving in a certain more secular or forward-looking direction. For instance, I remember very well reproductive health. Risa Ontiveros was demonized by a lot of religious groups back then, and yet she kept on winning in Senate one after the other. And we saw a lot of pushback by more conservative elements in the Catholic hierarchy against a whole range of issues. But what we see is, interestingly, both former President Duterte and the current President Marcos Jr. actually are relatively social liberal. I mean, it's interesting, they're seen as authoritarian and all, but if you look at the stance of the Duterte administration, people around the president, people close to him, even if you look at the interviews of Marcos Jr. during the presidential elections, his views on abortion, his views on divorce, more rights for women, actually, they're more social liberal. And I don't think that's just a reflection of their strong convictions in life. I think they see the direction of history. Because, after all, you have a pope right now in Vatican who's blessed, right? Things that were seen as completely unacceptable by more conservative elements. So I think some are realizing at some point, not only are we among the few countries that doesn't have divorce or abortion, we might even be behind Vatican at some point in time. And I think that's why some of these politicians are realizing if the Pope is moving in that liberal and progressive direction, maybe we also have to move in that direction. But I think lots will also depend on bottom-up pressure. We cannot just rely on the politicians to do the right, to make the right decision. We have to fight for that. And one thing I'm proud about is in the Philippines, we have a very strong civil society led by very strong women. That's why I'm optimistic within our lifetimes or perhaps in the coming years. We'll see some progress.
Thanks very much, Richard. Robbie Galang, the question is pretty blunt. Will it be passed anytime soon?
I take the opposite stand, not because I'm against divorce, but because there's no pressure for it because of two things. One is that, unfortunately, if you're a congressman or a senator, it's easy for them to get annulled. And so many of them are actually annulled. So our political class don't have any urgency to pass a divorce law because they have a loophole.
They can use the system.
To get the annulment, right? And the other part is that there's also no pressure at the bottom because majority of Filipinos, if you look at the latest birth statistics, majority of Filipinos, I think up to 60% of Filipinos are born out of wedlock. What that means is that Filipinos aren't even getting married. So I don't need a divorce because I wasn't even married in the first place. So we've come into this strange situation where our politicians are like, we are pro-family, pro-this, but because, I think partially because there's no divorce, there's no marriage.
Thanks very much indeed. I want to hear from the audience. Madam, I see your hand is up there. Thank you very much.
Ms. Darlene, I have no experience. I've never been married. Probably I'm one of those women who are not even encouraged to get married right now. Right now, I'm the minority, but we're growing because we don't see the reason why to get married if you don't have the chance to get out of it if something happens.
Thank you very much indeed. Madam?
Hi. So I've known relatives who've gone through the process, and it is an arduous backwards that involves lying on both sides, that involves a lot of money, a lot of red tape, and it's a little bit ridiculous. So it's not even something that's accessible to most of the people in the population. You have to be of a certain means in order to get to divorce, which I think is a key problem here. It's only if you're rich enough, you can get an annulment, but if you're not, well, tough luck.
Thank you very much indeed. Is there anyone in the room who is in favour of the current situation? So you're in favour? You're in favour, sir? Can I hear why?
I'm Joel. So I'm in favor because sometimes Filipino or people forget what's the core of meaning of marriage. We became popular about what's on trend. What is the really meaning of marriage? It's a commitment. Loving is not about if it's hard, then I quit. I need to fight for the choice that I made because it's a commitment. It's not just that I need to let go.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And thank you to all our contributors and to our panel. We're going to pause there for the news. We will be back with our Philippines panel and audience for more BBC World Questions very soon.
This is the BBC World Service asking if psychedelic drugs could help in the treatment of mental health conditions.
This is very common for people to stop me and say, wait a minute, you're the mushroom person.
Heidi helps run a clinic in Oregon where the use of psilocybin, the active ingredient in so-called magic mushrooms, is legal in therapeutic sessions.
There's a lot of people suffering now without really effective treatments. So there's a major need.
We'll be hearing about the benefits, but also the concerns that widening access to these drugs could have.
Psilocybin in America is what's called a Schedule 1 substance, the most highly restricted category of illegal drugs.
It's my job to keep people safe and keep people calm. It is very important that people do this with guidance and do this in a safe place.
Magic mushrooms and mental health. Tuesday at 8 and 15 GMT.
This is the BBC World Service. I'm Johnny Diamond, and you're listening to World Questions, debating the future of the Philippines. So far, we've discussed the new president, infrastructure, and divorce. Next, we're going to discuss disputes over the South China Sea, changes to the constitution, and how to combat poverty. Join us for more World Questions from Manila in the Philippines, straight after the BBC World Service news.
With the BBC News, I'm Roisin Hasty. The UN says that a new land route has been used to deliver urgently needed food to northern Gaza for the first time in 3 weeks. A ship transporting 200 tons of food aid is now about halfway through its 330-kilometre voyage from Cyprus to Gaza. Lithuania has said Russia is behind an attack on Leonid Volkov, who worked as Alexei Navalny's chief of staff in Vilnius. A former Lithuanian Prime Minister, Andrius Kubilius, accused President Putin of attempting to show that Lithuania was not a safe place for Russia's opposition movement. The Sudanese army and the rival Rapid Support Forces have vowed to continue the battle for control of the country, ignoring international calls for a Ramadan ceasefire. Nigerian media are reporting that dozens of people have been abducted from a village in the northwest of the country just days after the kidnapping of more than 250 pupils in the same region. The UN's Children's Agency says the number of children dying before their 5th birthday reached a record low in 2022. UNICEF credits midwives and skilled health professionals for the drop. The Hong Kong airline Cathay Pacific has reported its first profit since before the COVID pandemic. The company has been slower than other international airlines to return to profitability, partly because coronavirus lockdown rules in Hong Kong were stricter than elsewhere. The first refugee to become an MP in New Zealand, a woman tipped for high office, has pleaded guilty to shoplifting. Maurice Garamond admitted stealing more than $5,000 worth of clothes from several shops. The search for 7 family members missing after serious flooding in the Western Australian outback has been put on hold because of more bad weather. The 3 elderly people and 4 children have not been seen since Sunday. BBC News.
Hello, I am Johnny Diamond. This is the BBC.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Starr, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medase.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, Winneba, and many other locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it, you're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedasse.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamp.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamp@gmail.com. Well Lamp Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy.
Hi there. Are you dreaming of owning your own house in Ghana? Then you will need a well-documented piece of land that is free from troubles. I highly recommend My Africa Property for any size of land that you will need. With My Africa Property, lands are available in Pram, Sopoli, Tohenia, Ogome, Dodova, locations at affordable prices. These locations are about an hour away from the airport, only 35 minutes from the motorway, 10 minutes drive from Central University College, 10 minutes drive to the beach, and close to Pram Senior High School and Ghana Men's Soccer Center of Excellence. For more details, visit our website www.myafricaproperty.com or call our UK office on 0208 123 2523. For our US and Canada offices, call us on +1 585 184 994145. You can also email us at ghana@myafricaproperty.com.
Getting onto the property ladder has never been easy until now. Join us this and every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. live on the Property Hour Show on Starr Radio UK, where we talk to mortgage brokers, property developers, estate agents, landlord, tenant, property consultants on how to invest or get into the property business and make money. You can't afford to miss this. The Property Hour Show is your best source into the property industry.
Tune in to On Point here on Starr Radio UK with Empress Regina every Monday at 5 p.m. GMT. Looking forward to your company.
Radio show. The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Body's aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie, and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show. Oh.
This is Starr Radio UK. Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London on this Wednesday edition of the morning show. Today is Wednesday, the 13th day of March, the year 2024, and the time now is exactly 10:47 from the hearts of London. From now till 12 o'clock, I'll be bringing you everything that you need to know. Or, yes, of course, you can share with me everything that we want our listeners to know as well. Let me take the opportunity to say good morning to my neighbors. They are police officers, David and Megan, lovely wife Megan. And they saw me yesterday and they said, actually, what did you discuss? And I was telling them all about the discussions that we've had on the program. And they were saying, we cannot wait for you to put us in your hot seat so that we can see to address some issues. I said, of course, the police have been having their flag, but I know you are one of the good ones, and I hope that I'll have the opportunity to interview you and give you a bit of ground or opportunity to actually speak good or let people be a judge of it. But let me say good morning to you all there. Good morning to my good producer, Mr. Francis Guy, for the good work that you've done this morning. Regina Anima, good morning. Yes. He said she's going to be back on the on point show by mid-year. Okay, yes, I said okay. So I've had a lot of discussions. Let me say good morning to Pastor Michael Ayisi. They are also going to be coming your way with some different program there as well. And then to Reverend Michael Esiama. Oh, so Michael and Michael, yes. Esiama. Master, good morning to you. He brought you the Power Hour this morning. So wherever you are, I hope that you enjoy that program as well. It's Command Your Morning, where you pray and then you take control of what should happen or the happenings of the day. Be in control of it. So Reverend Esiama, massive good morning to you. To Bishop Adeshina, massive good morning. Pastor Emmanuel Pastor Emmanuel Chidi, good morning. Yes, good morning to you. Pastor Momo, good morning. Olakunle, good morning. Aziz, Antonio Adedeji, Rachel Aboshode, good morning to you all. And to Shamsuddin, So seeing all the way in Moscow and every one of you who tune in this morning to listen to us, I salute each and every one of you. And once again, so welcome to the program. Mr. Frank Davis, good morning. Kofi Ali, good morning. Kojo D, yes, it was nice talking to you yesterday. I told you yesterday I had lots of conferences. Yes, good morning to you all. And do me a massive favor, share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Also, let me say good morning to our money man, Mr. Dan Tabri, CEO of GL Accountancy Services. Yes, I hope you are doing very, very well. So once again, welcome to the program. All right, so our program like this, how the program is going to go. I'm going to bring you the quotes for the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. That is known as global trotting. After which we'll continue to look at some of the details of events. Of course, I'll be bringing you music during the course of the program as well. But wherever you are, wherever you are tuning to listen to us, we want to say welcome on board. This is Starr Radio UK. This is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Now the quote for the day says, if success were to be by luck, there will be fewer publication on the subject for people who undergo apprenticeship on how to become successful. Now, it is not by luck. You have to work at it. You have to put things in place. And let me take the opportunity to say good morning to Mr. Darrell Van Leer as well. I hope you are doing very, very well and you are enjoying the training or the course that you are undertaking at the moment. Yes? Okay. Good morning to you and to all the youth. Yes, especially those of you in Bible Life Family Ministries. I salute each and every one of you there. All right then. So now let's crack on. Let's move on straight to the weather front. Let me tell you what is happening when it comes to the weather. What have we got for you when it comes to the weather? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this afternoon will be mostly cloudy and dry, albeit cloud will break up to reveal some clear spells through the evening. A mild day with fresh southwesterly winds expected as well. Tonight, it is expected to see a mix of clear spells and variable cloud. Towards dawn, cloud will start to thicken from the west, but it will stay dry throughout. It's going to be staying breezy as well. Temperature is going to be 15 degrees. The lower is going to be 9 degrees. UV level is going to be low. Pollution is going to be low. Sunset 18:03 and sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:18 hours. And that brings us to the end of the weather forecast. And let's go straight to your travels as well. How is your travels? As we say here, keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads as we keep it navigated, our promise, our bond. Now, on the travel this morning, the Bakerloo line has got minor delays. That is due to shortage of trains. Also, Central line, minor delays due to shortage of trains. And Hammersmith and City lines, same minor delays due to train cancellation. So, please check before you leave. That aside, all the other underground lines are running a good service. London Overground, Elizabeth, DLR and London Tramlink, all good service there. And that takes us straight to the major roads in London. But keep your eyes on the roads. Now, A13 has got severe delays. North Circular A406 has also got severe delays. Blackwall Tunnel has got serious delays there. So if you can avoid them, do your best to avoid them. You don't want to be cut up in there at all. That aside, all the others are running, no exceptional delays. I think you can zoom through it like no man's business. The River Bus has got good service throughout. The London cable car, so far so good, running a good service there. That brings us to the final segment of the travel update. That is the National Rail. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. Promise our bond. The Starr Radio travel update that comes your way every weekday from 10:40. So now, Avanti West Coast has got minor delays. Cross Country minor delays. West Trans-Pennine Express minor delays. Now, Grand Central, Great Western Railway, Northern Rail, ScotRail, and Transport for Wales have all got minor delays. You got it. All right then. So on that note, let me say it once again as I will normally do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes where? On the road. Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Welcome back to the program Star Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So if you happen to be in Ghana anytime soon, well, JN Mobile Spa is the place or is the company that you need to get in touch if you really want to have a nice massage to be distressed, rejuvenating, sensual healing therapy, exfoliating, facials, now firming and lifting. Well, you know what to do. Get in touch with them and they will help you out on that front. Listeners, it is Star Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly 5 minutes to the top of the hour. And now let's go on to look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. And from where? Nigeria. Tinubu demanded names, transaction details of top 100 Binance users in Nigeria before release of detained executives. And the President Tinubu appoints Dayo Mobero Riole as NIMA's Director General. $1.2 million program will address Nigeria's agriculture export challenges. Okonjo Iweala is saying. Okay, and First Lady Oluremi Tinubu commissions alternative high schools for girls, ICT Central Center in Bauchi. Don't act like Buhari. Negotiate with bandits. Gomi tells Tinubu. Now, should he negotiate with the bandits? Well, Buhari tried to go after everyone. And we were saying, well, it should be the rabbit and the stick method that has to be used. Carrot and a stick. My apologies. Carrot and a stick method. But he decided to go gun blazing. He didn't do that. Now, sometime this was it last week or this week? Yes, this week. Well, over the weekend we had information that was coming through saying that the military has attacked some is it hideouts or they were taking headquarters in Imo State of the IPOB and lots of things that is happening there. But you ask yourself the question, what exactly is all that about? And we thought that maybe Tinubu will now use a peaceful means to resolve all these things. Now the question is, if the people are complaining about is not true, or they've not got any grounds or no legs to stand on, then you can crash them. But if you happen to say that, well, what they are saying is true and needs to be addressed, why don't you bring them to the table? Especially when we have leaders in the Southeast who have come to have appealed to the president several times to see to it that they release Nnamdi Kanu. So that, and the other time we had the Yoruba leader as well, Dr. Sunday Igboho, also saying that, well, he is of the view that the president should see to it that they release Nnamdi Kanu because that will help restore peace and development in that area. But we don't see anything of the sort. So what is going to happen? Well. Amid Tinubu's message, a sacrifice, Accountant General's office holds workshop in London. Well, we want you to do whatever thing in Nigeria because it's not coming to sit here and speak big grammar and then we come there and then we move around and we say, it is all okay and that's not what we want. We want the people on the ground, the people living there, to say that yes, we can see that we have had improvement in our lives. Now we can afford to buy food. There is food to go around for everybody. Miyati Allah members protest in court, demand release of detained leader Bodejo. Akeredolu didn't anoint Ayida Tiwa as successor, late governor spokesperson has been saying. Listeners, this is all coming your way from Star Radio UK. The man is dead and gone. It is not a monarchy system where he has to appoint somebody. If he is the deputy and the deputy governor and the governor, the substantive governor is not there, he's the one who takes over. And it's straightforward. Yeah? Okay. If you think otherwise, feel free to get in touch with us and I will tell you more about that. A gunman dressed in military camouflage killed 4 in Imo. A EFCC accuses Obiano, former Anambra governor, of evading court process. Gunman killed 4. Okay. Anambra Truth, Peace, Justice Commission submits report. And what report is it? And how is that going to, work out for the people in the Southeast? Lots more going to be coming your way from there. So wherever you are, don't even think of touching the dial. In other parts of Africa as well, British military reports pirate attacks of Somalia. Oh gosh. Somebody say nowhere cool. Okay. And then Mozambique, at least 4 dead following Storm Filippo. And then evangelical Christians are visiting Israel as wartime volunteers. There are some of the stories making the rounds outside Africa. South Africa's ruling agency not likely to hold majority, a survey has said. I did talk about that yesterday. The Sudan's conflict, army retakes state broadcasters. Okay. And then Canary Island, 2 dead and 38 survivors on a migrant boat. And then lightning kills 4 people in Mozambique. Some of the stories making the rounds there. Now moving on straight to other parts of Africa as well. This time around in Ghana, clinical experts meet to review the Ghana diagnostic related groupings of the NHIA. Yes, picture. Yeah, I know people they love to. Yes. Now ongoing do so is due to mismanagement, gross abuse of funds. That's what the minority is saying. The minority in parliament has dismissed the assertion by the Electricity Company of Ghana that overloaded transformers are to blame for the current erratic power supply. ECG in a statement informed customers they are of the power outages. Well, Dumso, when the current government was coming to power, they said they are eradicating it, they are doing everything. Now they are ending up with Dumso. Is it Doom, whichever it is. Well, listeners, it's all Starr Radio UK. Some other story that is making the round this morning also. I think American has reduced attack on Professor Nana Jane after minority uproar. Well, a bit of peace there. We will see. Autopsy report confirms John Kumar died of natural causes. Well. Is it an investigation or there's an autopsy report that they're taking it on surface value? What exactly is going on? Okay. Now moving on to other parts of the world as well. As it's a Wednesday edition of the morning show, you know that we always press with time default position. In other parts of the world, UN uses new route from Israel to reach north of Gaza. The story is making the rounds. And the hidden village just meters from North Korea. Stories making official rounds there. It's official. Biden and Trump set for a rematch. Who are the people going to vote for? Yes, Proud Boys Master Trump or Sleepy Joe, as they call him. We'll see. Who will be the better evil there? You want to know more? Feel free to stay on, and we'll be telling you more about that as well. So coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Kennedy's nephew eyes NFL star as running mate. Okay. What party or what flag, on which flag is Kennedy's nephew flying on? Well. Okay. And 3 Egyptian Coptic monks killed in South Africa is some of the stories making the rounds there as well. Yesterday I did talk about a whistleblower of the who worked with Boeing, who was found dead in his truck. Well, a day before he was supposed to testify, or yes, a day after he's going to testify, his first round of testifying, whatever it is. Well, he was found dead, and they said it's not nothing dodgy, but I hope that the security or will find out, will investigate and find out exactly what is going on. We take more cash from race row Tory donor, minister says. Kevin Hollinrack says Frank Hester is not a racist despite alleged comments about Diana Abbott. But yesterday, the Prime Minister, number 10, finally came out to say that the statement that he made was racist. The fact that even calling that he should be shot as well. I'll be telling you more about all that. So stay tuned and don't you go away. Now, if somebody says something in the past and currently can say that, look, I don't have that. Interestingly, you know what they say as well. No, we say something and they say, oh no, I've got friends who are black. I've got friends who are black, and we continue to be doing all those things. But what do you think? If you say somebody is a racist person, so no, I've got a black friend. If you say somebody is Islamophobic, I have a friend who is a Muslim. If somebody is anti-Semitic, my friend is a Jewish guy, and then also. So far as you have got somebody in your corner, that means that you are not. So maybe it's a person's perception. Those who are watching you, as we say, observers are worried. Now, what about all that? Lots more going to be coming your way from there. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Stay tuned. Don't you go away. Let's take a music break. Come back. I bring you all the details of the stories making around this morning. Edith Morrison says, "What makes you great?"
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a doubt they fade, Jesus, and that's what makes you great. You hold the world in your hands, the hand that made me who I am. Same God now, yesterday, and forevermore. And that's what makes you great. You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end. Till the end. You are God. One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign. That's why forever call you great. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Greatly to be praised.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide online 24/7.
This I'll celebrate.
Love for you runs deep. All of you makes my heart beat. You make a dawn fade, and that's what makes you great.
You are God. You will never change. You remain the same till the end. Till the end. You are God.
One who took my pain, took away my shame. Lord, you reign.
That's why forever call you great. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Greatly to be praised. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. This I'll celebrate. Holy, holy, God Almighty, I worship you. Heaven and earth cry out your name. I worship you. Holy, holy, God Almighty, I worship you. Heaven and earth cry out your name. I worship you. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Greatly to be praised.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Well, great are you, Lord, from Edith Morrison this morning, wherever you are listening to us from. This is Starr Radio UK. This is the favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now gone 9 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's the Wednesday edition of the morning show. So we're going to be going on to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds at the moment, but that will be after this short commercial break, and I will be with you. Stay tuned and don't think of touching the dial.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedase.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenated, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancer taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Starr Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say order, you say fire.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. At 30 minutes past the top of the hour, it is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. Now, let me just bring you this announcement in detail and then we can continue. Marketplace Christianity, 12 weeks workshop on financial intelligence. The content, how to get the job you really want, start and grow your own business, develop different income streams, become an ambassador for Christ in the workplace. It is a program that is being undertaken by BB Clement. And you can join via Zoom every Wednesday. So today is going to be taking place from 7 to 8 p.m. every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Okay, so make sure you make a date with her. The Zoom ID is 83779457-141. 83779457-141. And the passcode is 387781. 387781. So make sure you hop or hack in there Then join them on site as well on Sundays of every month. So this Sunday is going to be taking place from March 24 and the 31st. Okay, so not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, that event will be taking place. So make sure you make a date with her there as well. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now let's go look at the details of the stories that is making the rounds this morning. Taking you straight to Nigeria. Now, it's interesting how people can sit back and how do I put it? Analyze things when they are not at the helm of things. Okay, but when the moment you get in control, or you get to the helm of issues, then you find yourself that the person who was before me might have been doing all the right things, but it's only that things are too tough or so difficult to be done. That's why we might have been going through that. Well, let me start it from this place. We'll come to that story. President Bola Tinubu's government has demanded that the world's largest cryptocurrency platform, Binance, provide a list of top 100 Nigerian users and their transactions details on the platform before detained officials are released. Nigeria is pressing Binance for information on its top 100 users in the country, as well as all transaction history for the past 6 months. Financial Times reported on Tuesday. According to the newspaper, the request is at the center of negotiations between Binance and Nigeria, which sees the company as a crucial link undermining government efforts to stabilize its currency, the Naira. The 6-month transaction details request tallies with the timeline of Nigeria's currency devaluation. The reported request comes as two Binance officials, Tigran Gambrian, a U.S. citizen, and British Kenyan Nadim and Jawala languished in detention in 2 weeks. 2 weeks after Nigerian authorities arrested them. Now, 2 weeks ago, citing FT, People's Gazette reported that the two Binance officials invited by the Nigerian government were arrested by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. The presidential spokesperson Ajurin Galile and Bayo Ononanga did not respond to calls or message seeking comments on the demands. Also, Binance declined to comment on the request, which will violate users' privacy, saying it is inappropriate for us to comment on the substance of the claims at this time. We can say that we are working collaboratively with Nigerian authorities to bring Nadim and Tigran back home safely to their families. Now, Binance told the Gazette on Wednesday. Now, to save the battered Nigerian Naira, which traded for about 2,000 Naira to $1 2 weeks ago, Mr. Tinubu's government blocked the Binance website for Nigerian users on claims that the cryptocurrency platform is aiding currency speculation in manipulating the Nigerian exchange rate. Now, amid the clampdown, Binance exited the Nigerian market and discontinued every Naira-related transaction on its platform. On Tuesday, the Gazette reported that the families of Mrs. Gambrian and Ajawala raised alarm over their loved ones being held hostage by the Nigerian government. Mr. Gambrian's wife, Yuki, has described the last 2 weeks as the hardest days of their life. She said her two children, a 4-year-old and 10-year-old, have become relentless in asking when daddy will return, a question to which he has no answer. In 2021, when former President Muhammadu Buhari first banned cryptocurrency in Nigeria, the Gazette reported how then Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, screenshot revealed he had Binance app on his phone. Interesting. Well, listeners, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, now moving on to some other stories. President Tinubu appoints Dayo Moberiola as NIMSA Director General. On Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu appointed Dr. Dayo Moberiola as the new Director General of the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, with an initial term of 4 years subject to renewal. This decision came following the conclusion of Mr. Bashir Jamo's tenure as the head of the agency, according to a statement on the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria X account. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Dr. Dayo Moberola to serve as the Director General of the Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency for a renewable term of 4 years. The statement also highlighted President Tinubu's expectation for Dr. Moberola to leverage his extensive experience in his new position to fulfill NIMASA's objectives. Listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Kidnappings still going on unprecedentedly. A lot of things going on. Let me say good morning to Mavis. Hey, May. Good morning to you. I hope you are doing very, very well. How is my boy, Tete? It's not more boy. It's my man. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Nice to see you and know that you're doing well too. There. All right. We'll catch up later. Catch up later after the program. I'll make sure I call you. So please be on standby. When I call, please pick. Okay. Now, Kaduna's based Muslim cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi on Tuesday sought government permission to approach and have talks with bandits who abducted about 287 school children from Kuriga Government Secondary and LEA primary schools in the Chikun local government area of the state. The Islamic cleric insisted that dialogue was the way to go, calling on President Bola Tinubu to take a different approach from his predecessor, Muhammadu Buhari, who rejected dialogue. Some newspapers said the bandits invaded the Kuriga area of Chikun local government area of Kaduna State, shooting at their victim before taking away at least 280 of the pupils and teachers from both schools. The incident occurred barely 24 hours after insurgents abducted 200 internally displaced women in Borno State. The women were kidnapped in Ngala, the headquarters of the Gambaru Ngala in Borno State, while fetching firewood in the bush. The penultimate Thursday, bandits invaded the Gonen Gora in the same Chikun LGA local government area, prompting residents to barricade the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway in protest against the abduction of an unspecified number of people in the area. Meanwhile, the government of the affected states have refused to dialogue with the bandits to release the school children and has refuted claims that it had hired a private negotiator to facilitate the release of the victims. However, reacting to the development, Gumi said in a statement, the government stands of no negotiation. The government's stance of no negotiation with bandits is an unfortunate position. My advice is that the government should dialogue with the bandits, not only for these Kuriga school children abduction, but all cases. Also, the government should use the same approach it used in releasing passengers that were abducted on the Abuja-Kaduna train in 2022 to release the Kuriga school children and others. I'm ready to lead a holistic dialogue between the government and bandits. It is my religious duty to do so for peace. I hope the present government of President Bola Tinubu will listen by dialoguing with the bandits, because the past administration of former President Muhammad Buhari refused to do so. Gumi had previously negotiated on behalf of state governments to free abducted people by bandits. In May 2021, one of the parents of the kidnapped students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, Afaka, Kaduna State, said rather than point on an accusing finger at Gumi for being complicit in the banditry ravaging the country, Nigerians should commend the cleric for his intervention in seeking the release of abducted persons in the country. Now, the question is, should they go on that part, okay? And let's say government now start negotiating with kidnapping bandits. Now, what do you think is going to be the end of it? So, you know that whatever happens, if we kidnap some people, government is going to come, maybe give us something, and then So it's not going to be a total loss to them. There's some way, somehow, it's a win-win for them. If they are able to press on the victims and their families now decide to pay, they get it. Now, if government decides to step in and negotiate with them and give them some truth or something, yeah, that would be good for them as well. But it's not a way by which these people is now going to, actually inflame the fire up, and they will be now going on, and it's not going to be serving as a deterrent to them. You think that the Buhari strategy didn't work. Therefore, the President Tinubu should re-strategize by what? Negotiating with them. Okay. Reps urge CBN to curb banks' delay in returning customers' funds. In a bid to address the prolonged holding of customers' reversed funds by commercial banks, the House of Representatives have called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to intervene. Now, this decision comes after the adoption of a motion titled "Need to Restrain Commercial Banks from Holding Funds Reversal Beyond the Date Prescribed by the Central Bank of Nigeria," moved by Emmanuel Okpong Udo, representing Ikonu Ini Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. The motion highlighted the CBN's previous directives regarding the timeline for the reversal and resolution of refund complaints. And despite these guidelines, complaints of failed customers' transactions persist, with over 69% of grievances in July 2023 attributed to such failures. Expressing concern over the impact of this failed transaction on Nigeria's financial sector, the House emphasized the need for banks to address system issues proactively to mitigate such incidents. Listeners, this is why I bring the update from Nigeria to a close, and then let's move on straight to other parts of Africa as well. Let me tell you what is happening there. Now, whilst we have the Houthis doing whatever thing that they are doing, and the fight there, and which is impacting movement of ships around those areas. Well, the Somalia group have also now decided to embark on their pirating. Several people boarded and took control of a ship during a suspected pirate attack in the Indian Ocean, nearly 1,100 kilometers east of Somalia's coastal capital, Mogadishu, the British Army reported yesterday. The ship was boarded by several people on board two boats, one large and other small, said a statement from the British Army's Maritime Trade Operation. Unauthorized persons now have control of the vessel. The statement said it does not give any further details. A British maritime security company, Ambre, said 20 armed attackers took control of the ship as it traveled from Mozambique capital to Hamria in the United Arab Emirates. The piracy that once raged off the coast of Somalia has declined after peaking in 2011, but concerns about further attacks have increased in recent months. In December, at least 2 incidents were reported. One involved a commercial vessel seized by heavily armed people near the town of Ayi off the coast of Somalia. Now, the other concerns Maltese flag merchant vessel that was hijacked in Arabian Sea and moved to the same area off the coast of Somalia. The waters of Somalia saw a spike in piracy in 2011 when the UN said more than 160 attacks were recorded. Incidents subsequently declined significantly, largely due to the presence of the US Navy and its allies in the international waters. But now that they are in the Middle East trying to fight the insurgent of the Houthis, well, now we have a problem there as well. They see them as weak or porous, their defense, and therefore it's now time for them to also do whatever things they need to do. Sad one there. But listeners, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, a heat wave in South Africa has brought about a drought, and there are lots of queues of people trying to get water. Water shortage is there, and it's one of the stories that but I wouldn't touch on that in detail. That's one of the headlines that I'm bringing your way. But 4 individuals lost their lives and 3 others sustained injuries from lightning strikes in the town of Moginco, Nampula province in Mozambique. The nation braces for Storm Filippo, with the southern and central provinces on alert for severe thunderstorm. Filippo has made landfall and may intensify into severe tropical storm before dissipating at sea. The increased rainfall has already been recorded and there are fears of mudslides. Boats and vessels are being warned by Mozambique's National Institute of Meteorology to take precaution. Natural disasters are common in Mozambique, particularly during the rainy and cyclone seasons, which runs between October and April. Listeners, this is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, moving on straight to Ghana as well. Look at some of the stories making the rounds there. Let me tell you. We're committed to expanding MPP's global network, Stephen team on APC visit. And AEI allows IPAC for a strong beginning ahead of 2024. And Mahama trails Baumia in latest outcome international survey. Really interesting. How many people were actually questioned? I'm going to be telling you more about all that. We are ready to conduct a by-election for Ejiso. That's what the EC is saying. Right? An educational civil society organization based in Ghana, the African Electoral Institute, has commended the Inter-Party Advisory Committee for the decisions arrived at during its last meeting held on the 7th of March 2024. In a press statement signed by the public relations officer of the AEI, Augustus Kweku Eshan, he described the meeting as successful and forward-looking ahead of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. The AEI lauds IPAC on this speech as a build up on strong beginnings for the 2024 general elections, underscoring consensus building and peaceful, credible elections. He urged IPAC to continue the dialogue and maintain the rapport in the just ended meeting, Mr. Eshan stated. But what do you think about it? It's quite an interesting one, right? Now, the Electoral Commission of Ghana says it's ready to conduct a by-election for the Ejisu constituency in Ashanti region. This comes on the back of the demise of the Member of Parliament for Ejisu, John Kuma. Dr. John Kuma had been battling an undisclosed illness for some time, leading him to seek treatment in Germany. Now, despite his health challenges, he returned to Ghana to ensure the passage of a critical revenue measure in the 2024 budget after the minority threatened rejection. The sudden loss of the Deputy Finance Minister had deeply affected Parliament, with Deputy Finance Minister and MP for Etiwa is Abena Asari weeping uncontrollably during one of their sittings. But the question is, how did he actually die? Well, let me tell you more about that. A pathologist report on the late Member of Parliament for Ejisu, John Ampuntua Kuma, has confirmed that he died of natural causes. The report of the late Deputy Minister of Finance autopsy conducted at the police hospital in Accra has ruled out the presence of any harmful chemicals such as poison in his system. Now, blood and urine samples tested for alcohol, common drugs, and poison were negative. The toxicology section of the report, intercepted by some news networks, have stated. Now, earlier reported that some networks reported that before his demise, he suffered from multiple myeloma, which is a type of blood cancer for which he was undergoing treatment. The details of the autopsy addressed to the coroner at the Carnation District Magistrate Court, dated Monday, March 11, 2024, determined the cause of his death to be due to congestive heart failure, severe anemia, and underlying multiple myeloma. This myeloma thing, even the queen was supposed to was said to have had that myeloma before she passed as well. You know, it's quite interesting. But listeners, it's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. This is the Wednesday edition of the morning show. We're going to take a break. Once we come back, yes, we'll be going on to look at some of the other stories making the round. But the wife of the deceased is saying that, well, he is calling for an inquest into husband's death. She doesn't believe in anything fishy or dodgy. Well, you want to know more? You got to stay here, and I'm going to bring you everything that you got. Is she going to contest as one of the MPs who passed? I think was it before the 2019 elections? Yeah, when he was on his campaign, was shot dead by armed robbers. I remember somewhere in the central region, and the wife decided to now conduct or stand as the MP and won the seat. So maybe John Kuma's wife has to stand for on the ticket of the NPP and for their constituency, and maybe she can win. What about that? Unless, of course, she's got no interest in politics at all. But I bet you, if she decides to vie for that sympathy vote, and help her out. What do you think about all that? It's all coming away from Starr Radio UK. Let's take a quick break. We come back, and then we'll be looking at some of the other stories making the round. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Vedase.
Hey, Charlie. You're on your way to Ghana. Boy, oh boy. You stressed out. Tired? Go, you're going to be resting. Okay, then let me recommend to you JN Mobile Spa in Accra, Ghana. Oh boy. JN Mobile Spa, they provide organic care in massage. Are you stressed? Do you need rejuvenating, etc.? For your facials, maybe exfoliating, firming, and lifting? Then contact JN Spa on 00233 244 941 002 or 00233 2006 06386, and they will be right there on time. JN Mobile Spa, your health and beauty needs at your doorstep.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London at 11:38. That we've got about 22 minutes or 21 minutes to bring the program to a close, and I will try to take you to the House of Parliament for the Prime Minister's question time. But yes, the next 22 minutes, what do I have for you? Let me bring that your way. Okay, so in other parts of the world, before we come to the UK, UN is using new route from Israel to reach north of Gaza. Now, the truce that we were thinking that would have taken place never did. And we're not sure exactly what is going to happen. But well, let me bring you details of that story as well. The UN says a new land route has been used to deliver food to northern Gaza for the first time in 3 weeks. The Israeli military said 6 lorries from the World Food Program crossed via a gate in Gaza border fence. Tuesday night delivery was part of a pilot to prevent Hamas from taking over the aid, it added. It comes amid global pressure on Israel to allow more access to Palestinian territory for aid amid a looming famine as it continues its war on Hamas. A boat carrying 200 tons of food aid for distribution by a charity also set sail from Cyprus on Tuesday, inaugurating a new maritime corridor into the Palestinian territory. Is expected to arrive near Gaza on Thursday. However, it has been widely pointed out that the access by road remains the quickest way to get in urgently needed supplies. The UN said the WFP World Food Program convoy was able to use an Israeli military road that runs along Gaza's border fence to reach the north and deliver enough food for 25,000 people to Gaza City. Now, Israeli security officials carried out a prior security check on the 8 lorries at a Karim Shalom crossing with the southern Gaza, according to the military. The UN says at least 576,000 people in Gaza, 1/4 of the population, are one step away from famine. Okay, what is the way forward there? So coming away from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Leonid Volkov, Navalny's ally, blames Putin henchmen for attack in Lithuania. A longtime ally of the late Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been attacked outside his home in Lithuania. Leonid Volkov said his arm was broken and his leg hit 15 times with a hammer. The alleged assailant is unknown, but Mr. Volkov said it was politically motivated. He said it was an obvious typical gangster greeting from Putin, from bandit St. Petersburg, but gave no more details about his attack or his attacker. Now, police have begun an investigation into the attack, which took place as the activist arrived at home in Vilnius in his car. Several theories have been put forward, and when it becomes clearer, we will be able to provide more information. Police Deputy Commissioner Tolijus Tomilevicius said to a news network. And another member of the Navalny team, Ivan Chadnov, posted pictures on social media showing Mr. Volkov with a bloodied lower left leg and bruising to his head. Asked whether the assailant had shouted anything, Mr. Chadnov said everything happened in silence. Of course, this is a clear political attack. There is no doubt here. The president didn't say, hey, for Putin, hey, for Russia, hey, anything. So it will be very, very difficult to go on that part. Unless, of course, this individual is arrested. If there were CCTVs in the vicinity and maybe they could track it, then maybe that will help. But until then, very, very, very difficult for you to say that, because we're a former associate of Alexei Navalny. Therefore, it could be any criminal doing that. Well, he said it's a gangster greeting from Putin. Now, Mr. Volkov's wife, who is also part of the Navalny team, said her husband had returned home from hospital with a broken arm, adding that he was unable to walk because of the hammer blows to his leg. We will all work even more and even greater anger, with even greater anger, and Birakova posted on X. Mr. Volkov, 43, has lived outside Russia for some years for his own safety and served as Navalny's chief of staff until the opposition leader died suddenly in prison in the Russian Arctic last month. Maybe you know what they like doing? They want to show that no matter how far you go, we can still reach out. We can still reach you. And that is quite an interesting one. And it becomes quite scary, when something of the sort happens. But well, Starr Radio UK, it is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, Space One's Kairos rocket burst into flames shortly after it lit off in western Japan on Wednesday. The explosion left a large plume of smoke in the air and sent fiery debris flying near the launch pad. The Tokyo startup was racing to become Japan's first private company to put a satellite into orbit, but it didn't happen. But well, if at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again, you will succeed at last. That is a saying. Yes, can you do that? Okay, Starr Radio UK. Now, U.S. President Joe Biden and his predecessor, Donald Trump, have both passed the delegate threshold to clinch their party's nomination. They each won several states in primary elections on Tuesday to propel them over the finish line. The two 2020 contenders will provide the U.S. with its first rematch in the presidential election for 70 years. A polling suggests it will be a tight race that will come down to narrow margins in few key states. The nomination will be made official at party conventions this summer. The 81-year-old president said on Tuesday evening that he was honored voters had backed his re-election bid in the moment when the threat Trump poses is greater than ever. Citing positive economic trends, he asserted the U.S. was in the middle of a comeback but faced challenges to its future as democracy, as well as from those seeking to pass abortion restriction and cut social programs. I believe that the American people will choose to keep up us moving into the future, Mr. Biden said in a statement from his campaign. Despite persistent concerns from voters that his age limit, his ability to perform the duties of presidency, the party apparatus rallied around him. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump, 77, remains very popular with the Republican voter base, which has propelled him to victory in primaries after primary over well-funded rivals. His campaign for a second term in the White House has zeroed in on a stricter immigration laws, including a pledge to seal the border and implement record-setting deportation. Well. Listeners, this is Starr Radio UK. This is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. What do you think about all that? We'll come into the UK and let's look at some of the stories making their rounds this morning. Well, the anger, the fear, and everything that had gone out or have come on after the alleged racist attack on the first black MP, Diana Abbott, is still ongoing. But interestingly, the Tories are saying that, you know what, we're not going to be returning the donation that Hester gave to the party. The Tory minister said his party will take another 10 million from a donor who allegedly made comments about Diana Abbott that Number 10 called racist. Now, Donor Frank Hester apologized after reportedly saying the ex-Labour MP made him want to hate all black women. Went on further to say that, you know what? Now, with that, somebody shoots her. Now, on the street, the Tory MP said that he will return the cash. Post Office Minister Kevin Hollinrick, however, said that his party will accept more because Mr. Hester's apology demonstrated he was not racist. The disagreement within the party comes as Downing Street faces calls to return the money. Now, Mr. Street, the Conservative mayor of the West Midlands, said, I will think about the company I kept and I will give that money back. Now, he went on further to say, I have to give you my view. Rather than what the party should do, but I have thought about how I would handle that situation. Mr. Honrake, however, speaking on BBC Breakfast, said that his party would accept another 10 million from him on the basis that we don't believe Mr. Hester is a racist. If Mr. Hester was a racist, if he refused to apologize for what he said, that would be different. He's apologized, and he said, I don't believe he is a racist. Now, it goes on further. The disagreement over returning Mr. Hester's money comes after a day of internal party turbulence over Mr. Hester's comments, first reported by The Guardian on Monday. In 2019, Mr. Hester allegedly said, it is like trying not to be racist, but you see an advert on the TV, and you just like, I hate her. You just want to hate all black women because she's there. And I don't hate all black women at all, but I think she should be shot. In further remarks reported from the same meeting, the Phoenix Partnership boss is claimed to have said that there was no room for the Indians then, and suggested staff climb on a train roof. In a social media post published earlier, Mr. Hester said he abhors racism, which he described as a poison that has no place in public life. He added, we should have the confidence to discuss our differences openly and even playfully without seeking to cause offense. Interestingly, there's one thing that I'm still waiting for him to say, which is not. I mean, when it comes to most of the people who make racist remarks and stuff like that, it's one of their stands. They say, you know what? I have a black friend. Archie is my friend. He's a black man. Oh, I have an Asian friend. Yes, and the one. So the moment, and then you say, oh, you are being anti-Semitic. Oh no, I have a friend. Alex, he's a Jewish man. He's my friend. Oh, he's being Islamophobic. Oh, you know what? Mo is my friend. And then so they try to hide behind that. But this time around, it's not come out to say that. They say, you know what? There is no place for racism in this part of the world, or in the world that we live in. What do you think about all that? This has been Starr Radio UK and the Wednesday edition of the morning show. But what do you think is going on? You think that is going to work better for the tourists, knowing the stands that they are taking, or what? Now, the Archbishops of Canterbury and York have urged caution on extremism redefinition. Archbishop of Canterbury and York have criticized Michael Gove's planned redefinition of extremism. Justin Welby and Stephen Cottrell said the response to what Rishi Sunak has called a shocking rise in extremism risks vilifying the wrong people and creating more division. The pair added it threatened freedom of speech and worship. A government spokesman said it will ensure no extremist organizations or individuals were given a platform. Now, speaking on today's program, Mr. Welby said, extremism happened in all faiths and was always changing. It is a general principle that extremism is a shifter. He said, it's always moving around and changing itself, and it happens in all sorts of faith groups, and it's a very dangerous problem indeed. He noted the rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobic behavior and the fear within those communities, and agreed that extremism was a problem that needed to be addressed. That the role of government is essential to preserve security, but there are different ways of getting to an understanding of what we mean by extremism. It is being decided by the government without drawing in the groups and networks across the country is where the mistake lies. The overall tone of political discussions in the UK was extremely concerning, he said. The government currently defines extremism as vocal or active opposition to to fundamental British values, including democracy, rule of law, individual liberty, mutual respect and tolerance of different faiths and beliefs. Mr. Gove is expected to set out a new official definition of extremism on Thursday, which will be used by the government to cut ties of funding to any groups deemed to have crossed that line. Sunday, he warned some pro-Palestinian events have been organized by extremist organizations. It follows a statement by Rishi Sunak at the start of the month in which he said the UK must face down extremists undermining the British democracy. Listeners, this is where I have to bring the program to a close for today. And I want to say thank you very, very much. The Clinical team are working to see if we can bring you or carry the Prime Minister's question time. But for that, until that is done, I want to say thank you very, very much. Let me put this announcement through quickly before we go away. The Marketplace Christianity. Yes, the event is taking place tonight once again. And it's by BB Clement. And the details are: get a job you really want, start and grow your own business, develop different income streams, become an ambassador for Christ in the workplace. Well, you want to join in, it is via Zoom, and it is, the Zoom ID is 8377 9457 141. 8377 9457 141. The passcode is 387781. Also, come March 24 and the 31st, she will be having an in-house one at the 84 Lily Road in Fulham, London, South, SW6 1TL. Right? You can join with that, Trem, Fulham, or on YouTube or on Facebook. But if you want to get in touch, just get in touch with BB Clement, and she will give you all the details that you need. On that note, let me say it once again. Thank you very, very much. For those of you also traveling to Ghana, well, JN Mobile Spa and organic care. Yes, they give organic care when it comes to massage. Well, if you are distressed, you want rejuvenating, sensual, healing therapy. When it comes to your facials, exfoliating, firming, and lifting, get in touch with JN Mobile Spa. The numbers are 0244941002 or 0200606 or you want to post, you also want to go via the old way. P.O. Box. Well, that is 6152 Cantonment. Yeah. JN Mobile Spa is your health and beauty needs at your doorstep. Call them and they'll be there to give you the service that you so want. All right then. So now let me say thank you very much. Let's enjoy this music as we try to run up and bring you the Prime Minister's question time. This is from the Zongo Man, and he has said it. If you look at what happened in Libya, and you look at everything that is happening currently on the African continent and in Haiti as well, and everything that is going on, I tell you, problem of Africa. Well, when that song ends and you don't hear from me, then it's been me, Archie, saying have a top of the day and bye-bye for now.
The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they leave. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go to universities. Universities award them degrees. Big degrees. Degrees. Big degrees. MSc in stealing. Bachelor of Arts, Mismanagement. Another degree. Masters in looting. MSc corruption, Bachelor of Science, nepotism, MSc in 4 years, another degree, Bachelor of Arts in discipline, MSc in embezzlement. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Some of them went to London, London School of Fools, where they were awarded degrees in foolishness, PhD in stupidity, MSc in foolishness, PhD in dishonesty, PhD in recklessness, Bachelor of Arts in selfishness, MSc in greed, another degree, BSc maladministration, PhD in quasi-assem, PhD pull him down, MSc in kill your donkey. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. When he stood in Independence Square, declared that the African is capable of managing his own affairs. That the African is capable of managing his own affairs. We have let Nkrumah down badly, disgraced him in the eyes of the world. Kwame Nkrumah should have said that the African is capable of mismanaging his own affairs. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is they lead. Africa. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go to universities. Universities award them degrees. Big degrees. 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 Big degrees. MSc in stealing, Bachelor of Arts, mismanagement, another degree, Masters in looting, MSc.
Much of their working lives in the NHS to helping others.
Prime Minister.
My honourable friend is right that our incredible NHS staff deserve our utmost thanks for their service, and I'm pleased that many NHS organisations, as he knows, have their own schemes in place to do that. We also, of course, recognise NHS staff who are outstanding through our honours system, and MPs are able to acknowledge their work through the NHS Parliamentary Awards, and nominations remain open for that, and I would encourage colleagues to avail themselves of it. But I will make sure that he gets to meet the Secretary of State to discuss his specific proposals further.
We now come to Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starr.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I welcome the legislation on the post office scandal? Mr. Speaker, this week we lost the formidable Tommy McAvoy. He served his hometown of Rutherglen and the Labour government with loyalty and good humour, and we send our deepest sympathies to his wife, Eleanor, and their family. We also learned that the Right Honourable Member for Maidenhead will be taking her well-deserved retirement. She has served this House and her constituents with a real sense of duty, and her unwavering commitment to ending modern slavery is commended by all of us. We thank her for her service. Is the Prime Minister proud to be bankrolled by someone using racist and misogynist language when he says the member for Hackney North and Stoke Newington makes you want to hate all black women?
Mr. Speaker, the alleged comments were wrong, they were racist, and he has now, as I said, the comments were wrong, they were racist. He has rightly apologised for them, and that remorse should be accepted, Mr. Speaker. There is no place for racism in Britain, and the government that I lead is living proof of that.
Mr. Speaker, the man bankrolling the Prime Minister also said that the member for Hackney North should be shot. How low would he have to sink? What racist, woman-hating threat of violence would he have to make before the Prime Minister plucked up the courage to hand back the £10 million that he's taken from him?
Mr. Speaker, as I said, the gentleman apologised genuinely for his comments, and that remorse should be accepted. But he talks about language. He might want to reflect on the double standards of his deputy leader, calling her opponents scum, Mr. Speaker. His shadow foreign secretary comparing Conservatives to Nazis, Mr. Speaker. And the man that he wanted to make Chancellor talking about lynching a female minister. His silence on that speaks volumes.
Mr. Speaker, the difference is he's scared of his party. I've changed my party. And Mr. Speaker.
I want to hear both the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition, Keir Starr.
2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister invited himself into everyone's living room at 6 o'clock on a Friday evening. No one asked him to give that speech. He chose to do it. He chose to anoint himself as the great healer and pose as some kind of unifier. But when the man bankrolling his election says the member for Hackney North should be shot, he suddenly finds himself tongue-tied, shrinking in sophistry, hoping he can deflect for long enough that we'll all go away. What does the Prime Minister think it was about the hundreds of millions of pounds of NHS contracts given to Frank Hester by his government that first attracted him to giving £10 million to the Tory party in the first place?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm absolutely not going to take any lectures from somebody who chose to represent an anti-Semitic terrorist group, Hizb ut-Tahrir, who chose to serve a leader who let anti-Semitism run rife in this Labour Party. Those are his actions, those are his values, and that's how he should be judged.
Mr. Speaker, the problem is he's describing a Labour Party that no longer exists. I'm describing the man who is bankrolling their upcoming general election.
Keir Starr.
They can shout all they like. 2 weeks ago, he marched them out like fools to defend Islamophobia. And now the member for Ashfield is warming up the opposition benches for them. And yesterday he sent them out to play down racism and misogyny until he was forced to change course. He won't hand the money back. He won't comment on how convenient it is that a man handed huge NHS contracts by his government is now his party's biggest donor. You have to wonder what the point is of a Prime Minister who can't lead and a party that can't govern. And Mr. Speaker, national insurance contributions fund state pensions and the NHS. So is the Prime Minister's latest unfunded £46 billion promise to scrap national insurance going to be paid for by cuts to state pensions or cuts to the NHS?
Prime Minister. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad he's brought up the budget. It's about time that he spoke about his plans, because what have we heard, Mr. Speaker, from the Shadow Chief Secretary? The Shadow Chief Secretary of the Treasury confirmed.
Prime Minister.
The Shadow Chief Secretary of the Treasury has confirmed that the Labour Party will not be sticking to the Conservative government spending plans. So we now have a litany of unfunded promises on the NHS, on mental health, on dentistry, on breakfast clubs, and that doesn't even include the £28 billion 2030 eco-pledge that he's still committed to. But what we all know, Mr. Speaker, is that while we're cutting taxes, Labour's unfunded promises mean higher taxes for working Britain.
No, Mr. Speaker, the Labour Party will not be sticking to his completely unfunded £46 billion promise. And he thinks he can trick people into believing that, but simply shaking the Tory magic money tree will bring it into existence. Let's be clear. 80% of national insurance is spent on social security and pensions. 20% is spent on the NHS. So he's either cutting pensions or the NHS, or he will have to raise other taxes or borrowing. Which is it, Prime Minister?
Mr. Speaker, I know it's not a strong point, but if you actually listened to the Chancellor last week, what he would have seen is NHS spending is going up, Mr. Speaker. It's going up. It's a plan that's backed by the NHS CEO, who says that we're giving her what she needs, and at the same time, we are responsibly cutting taxes for millions of people in work. An average worker benefiting from a £900 tax cut, Mr. Speaker. But what I'm hearing from him is he's against our plans to cut national insurance.
The highest tax burden since the Second World War. I did listen to the Chancellor, £46 billion of unfunded commitments. They tried that under the last administration, and everybody else is paying the price. And 2 weeks ago, the Prime Minister promised to crack down on those spreading hate. Today, he shrunk at the first challenge. Last week, he promised fantasy tax cuts. Now he's pretending it can all be paid for with no impact on pensions or the NHS. All we need now, Mr. Speaker, is an especially hardy lettuce, and it could be 2022 all over again. Is it any wonder that he's too scared to call an election when the public can see that the only way to protect their country, their pension and their NHS from the madness of this Tory party is by voting Labour?
Mr. Speaker, again...
No, Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, he talks about pensions. Pensions are going up by around £900 in this year. It's this government that's protected the triple lock for the last 10 years. He talks about supporting working people. It's this government that's cutting taxes for every single person in work, Mr. Speaker. It's this government that's investing in the NHS, but all we have from him is a £28 billion unfunded promise. Mr. Speaker, I had a look at it. It's here. It's all here. Making Britain a clean energy superpower. He's still stuck to it, Mr. Speaker. And if you look through it carefully, there's billions in spending he's already committed to Scotland, billions for Wales. There's actually money for North London too, I noticed. But the problem is, none of it is funded. So why doesn't he come clean and tell him under his plans, Britain people's taxes are going up, Mr. Speaker?
Yeah.
Mr. Speaker, millions of people around the UK and Europe have been inspired by the brilliance of Six Nations rugby. And Premier League clubs like Gloucester Rugby, which were funded during the pandemic through loans authorised by the Prime Minister as then Chancellor, have always been grateful for being kept solvent. But the Prime Minister will also know that the finances of some of these clubs are fragile and that the current loan repayment schemes could be crippling. So will my right honourable friend ask the Sports Minister and the Treasury to try and find a solution through this so that taxpayer interests are protected and all of us can go on being inspired by top-class rugby for years to come?
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is absolutely right that we stepped in with a £150 million financial lifeline to ensure the survival of Premiership rugby league clubs during the pandemic. And I am told that DCMS is working with Sport England as the agent to talk to borrowers with concerns about their loan agreements, and any ones that do have concerns should contact Sport England in the normal way. But I can also proudly tell him that we are talking to the Rugby Football Union and the Premiership League to secure not just the future of rugby union, but also his local Gloucester Rugby.
We come to the SNP, Stephen Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to begin by wishing Ramadan Mubarak to Muslims across these aisles. Mr. Speaker, the Conservative Party have accepted a £10 million donation from an individual who has said that one of our parliamentary colleagues in this chamber should be shot. Why is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom putting money before morals?
Mr. Speaker, as I said, the comments were wrong. The gentleman in question has apologised for them, and that remorse should be accepted.
Stephen Flynn! This is complete rubbish. The gentleman in question apologised for being rude. He wasn't rude, he was racist, he was odious, and he was downright bloody dangerous. Now, on Monday, the number 10 said, we've seen an unacceptable rise in extremist activity which is seeking to divide our society and hijack our democratic institutions. Isn't it extremism that we should all be worried about the views of those Tory donors that we've read about this week?
Prime Minister. No, Mr. Speaker, there has actually been a rise in extremist activity that is seeking to hijack our democratic institutions. It's important that we have the tools to tackle this threat. That's what the extremism strategy will do, and I would urge him to wait for the Community Secretary to release the details.
Will Twins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sub-postmasters across the country will welcome the government's announcement today on the introduction of legislation to overturn the convictions of those who were wrongly convicted. But can my right honourable friend reassure this House that that legislation will be passed as quickly as possible, and we will support all sub-postmasters right across our United Kingdom?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as I said, I want to pay tribute to all postmasters who have campaigned tirelessly for justice, including those who tragically won't see the justice that they deserve. Today's legislation marks an important step in finally clearing their names, and across this House we owe it to them to progress this legislation as soon as possible before summer recess so that we can deliver the justice that they have fought for. We're continuing to work with our counterparts in Scotland and Northern Ireland as they develop their plans, but regardless of where and how convictions are quashed, redress will be paid to victims across the whole of our United Kingdom on exactly the same basis.
And David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The future of children's cancer services.
And David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The future of children's cancer services in my constituency across southwest London, across Surrey, Sussex and beyond will be decided by NHS England tomorrow. The existing service is world-leading and has saved the lives of countless children. Many of us who have engaged with the consultation process feel that a wrong decision is about to be made, ignoring risk to children's cancer care by moving them to the Evelina. If the Evelina is chosen tomorrow, will the Prime Minister personally intervene and delay any final decision until he's met with myself and concerned MPs across the House so he can prevent these risks to our children's cancer services.
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as the honourable gentleman knows, decisions about clinical provision are rightly made by clinicians in local areas across the country. More generally, we're investing in more oncologists, radiologists and community diagnostic centres, which are contributing to cancer treatment being at record levels, but I will, of course, ensure that he and colleagues get a meeting with the Secretary of State.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Radical Islamists pose a serious threat to our nation's security. And I agree with my right honourable friend that we must urgently address this. But reports that the government wishes to broaden the definition of extremism are concerning because in separating the definition of extremism from actual violence and harm, we may criminalise people with a wide range of legitimate views and have a chilling effect on free speech. So can my right honourable friend reassure me that instead of trying to police people's thought and speech, as those opposite clearly wish to do, the government will instead target the specific groups that foster terrorism and those who fund them?
Prime Minister.
My honourable friend makes a good point, and that's why the strategy that I would urge her to wait for will, I think, be one that she can support, because it is our duty to make sure the government has the tools to tackle the threat that she rightly identifies and highlights. And this is absolutely not about silencing those with private and peaceful beliefs, nor will it impact free speech, which we on this side of the House will always strive to protect.
Janet David.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Children deserve the right to breathe clean air. However, many schools are in areas with high levels of air pollution. Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has announced... Keep going, Janet. Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has announced a pilot for 200 of London's most impacted schools to access air quality filters so children can breathe clean air in their classrooms.
Excellent.
Does the Prime Minister support this pilot and will he implement similar measures across our country?
Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased that latest published figures show that air pollution has reduced significantly since 2010, and partly due to our targets, partly due to our legally binding targets to reduce concentrations. They will continue to reduce over the following years, and on top of that, we've also provided almost £1 billion to help local authorities across the country implement local plans to reduce NO2 and make sure that we can support those impacted by those plans.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I understand the latest scheme that's been considered is to pay migrants thousands of pounds to leave Britain. Prime Minister, let's just leave the ECHR and deport them for free. So far, over 40,000 Brits have signed my petition with the Conservative Post calling for us to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. Will the Prime Minister commit to leaving the ECHR, or at the very least, have it in our manifesto to have a referendum and let Britain decide?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, my honourable friend is absolutely right that we must do everything we can to secure our borders, ensure that those who come here illegally do not have the ability to stay. That's why our Rwanda scheme and legislation is so important, and what I've said repeatedly and will happily say to her again is that I will not let a foreign court block our ability to send people to Rwanda when the time comes.
Roberts.
The National Theatre production, Nye, which stars Michael Sheen, celebrates at the end a transformational increase in life expectancy since the founding of the NHS. But UCL findings indicate that austerity policies between 2010 and 2019 are responsible for a 3-year setback in life expectancy progress. Does he, or the Leader of the Opposition for that matter, think public services can withstand an extra £20 billion of cuts?
Prime Minister.
Yeah, well, Mr. Speaker, first of all, I'm pleased that the National Theatre received significant funding from the Chancellor in the recent budget to support their fantastic work across the UK. But I am surprised to hear her raising the NHS when it's her party that's propping up the Welsh Labour government in Wales, which has absolutely the worst NHS performance of any part of the United Kingdom.
Mr. Speaker, may I thank my right honourable friend for meeting me 6 weeks ago to discuss the plight of victims of COVID-19 vaccine damage. And may I ask him, following that discussion and his very sympathetic response during the GB People's Forum to Mr. John Watt, who himself is a victim of COVID-19 vaccine damage, whether the government will be supporting my COVID-19 vaccine payments bill this Friday.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank my honourable friend for raising the issue and the conversation that I had with him previously, and extend my sympathies to all of those who have been affected by this. I will, of course, make sure that he can meet with the Secretary of State to discuss his bill, and as I committed to him, we are looking at the issue in some detail to make sure that the policies we've got are providing the support that they need to.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister stood outside Downing Street saying that he wanted to root out hate and extremism.
Can you imagine?
Yet it shamefully took him more than 24 hours to finally say the remarks by the Tories' biggest donor that looking at the Right Honourable Member for Hackney North and Stoke Newington makes you want to hate all black women were indeed racist. In November, the Prime Minister accepted a non-cash donation to the tune of £15,000 from Frank Hester for the use of his helicopter. So will he reimburse him, yes or no?
No, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased that the gentleman is supporting a party that represents one of the most diverse governments in this country's history, led by this country's first British Asian Prime Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Later today, I look forward to voting for a tax cut for thousands of my constituents, a national insurance tax cut that will mean £900 off the tax bill for thousands of my constituents. After listening to the rhetoric from the leader of the opposition today, does the Prime Minister expect that the main opposition party will vote against this afternoon's tax cuts?
Well, my right honourable friend raises an excellent question, because whilst on this side of the House we believe in a country where hard work is rewarded and people can keep more of their hard-earned money, which is why we're cutting their taxes by an average of £900 each, we hear consistently from the party opposite, not only do they disagree with that approach, they continue to cling to unfunded spending promises that would put taxes up, but also the Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, we learnt just yesterday, described our plan to end the double taxation on work as morally abhorrent. And that is the contrast between us and them. Labour will put your taxes up and the Conservatives will keep cutting them.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of his backbenchers, and now it seems the Prime Minister himself, have taken to referring to the European Court of Human Rights as a foreign court, as if there's something inherently wrong with things being foreign or people being foreign. In what way can a court that the UK has belonged to since 1953, which has an Irish president and a UK justice with an LLB from Dundee, be considered foreign? I think the House needs to hear the Prime Minister commit today to the UK's continued membership of a court and a convention which has protected our rights and freedoms for over 70 years.
Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the issue of tackling illegal migration, when Parliament expresses a clear view on what it believes should happen, supports that with legislation, and that we believe we are acting in accordance with all our international obligations, I've been very clear that I will not let a foreign court stop us from sending illegal migrants to Rwanda. That is the right policy, and in fact the only way to ensure security of our borders and end the unfairness of illegal migration.
As a general election is not just a mere expression of opinion, but a serious choice, will my right honourable friend agree that there is only one potential party of government that has the will, the inclination and the determination to stop mass illegal and legal migration, and that is the Conservative Party? Let's unite our movement and do that!
I agree with my honourable friend entirely. And we know this because not only has the honourable gentleman opposite opposed the scheme, he's been clear that even when the scheme is implemented and working, he would still scrap it, Mr. Speaker, which tells you everything you need to know. On this issue, their values are simply not those of the British people. There's only one party that's going to stop the boats. It's the Conservative Party.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Under this Conservative government's watch, Thames Water have dumped over 72 billion litres of sewage into London's rivers, all whilst racking up multi-billion-pound debts. And reports are now that they could go bust any day. Despite this, the government is still refusing to publish their contingency plans for the collapse of our country's biggest water firm. So, yes or no, does the Prime Minister believe that Thames Water will still exist by the end of the year?
Prime Minister.
Yeah, well, Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be right for me to comment on individual companies, but what I can say is that our ambitious storm overflow reduction plan is backed by £60 billion of capital investment. We now monitor every single storm overflow across England and have legislated to introduce unlimited penalties on water companies that breach their obligations. The independent regulator and the Environment Agency have the powers they need to hold water companies wherever they are to account.
Natalie Elphie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Later this year, a new digital EU border system will come in, and yet key changes that are required, key details, have still not been decided by the EU. There are urgent decisions that are needed on additional funding and preparation to keep Dover clear and Kent moving through with its traffic. Can my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, assure me that this issue is being taken seriously at the highest levels of government and that funding and support will be made available to keep Dover clear, support the residents of Dover and Deal and Kent, and to secure our vital cross-channel trade and tourism?
Prime Minister.
No, my honourable friend's right to raise this issue, and I can assure her that it is being discussed at the highest levels of government between UK ministers and EU and French counterparts to make sure that we have practical and constructive solutions that will ease the flow of traffic in the way that she describes and will benefit her local communities.
Rachel McCaskill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 158 days and there's no peace and no justice. There is no food, there is no clean water, there is no sanitation and no medical aid. There are just no words left as